Hey Brian, Paul Cundiff here. So one of the things that stuck out to Taylor and I was this rub rail wood. It's fared with the deck most of the way, and then it's not fared back here. And so my thought was to fare this with the deck, and it could make this look a little smaller, a little narrower. Well, it will make this a little narrower if we fare this down. However, we can then fare in towards the boat, and we can bring the width back to what the width is, was supposed to be. And we can fix little things like here in the end, that's got kind of a bump on the end. It's like it's one size here, and then it just bumps out, which that's no big deal with a hand plane. We can buff these scratches out. We put our hardware on with oval screws. That way, if the screw goes in a little bit sideways, up, down, sideways, whatever, you can't tell because the oval hides that. Up here, we could help out a little bit with some new hatch binding and a new hinge. This hinge, normally like on a Chris Craft, they take the hinge all the way to the end of the opening. Thank you, sir. I didn't think about that before I started recording. Normally we take the hinge all the way to the end of the opening, and maybe even beyond. That way, when you put your hatch binding on, then you can go all the way out here to the hinge. It looks like one complete line, straight line. So that could be done, or we could supply you with what you need to do that yourself. There's quite a bit of varnish on this. Normally the hatch binding gets removed when the varnish work gets done. You got some modern cleats here, and some different modern cleats, and another different modern cleat yet. So we could line you up with some new stuff that looks vintage, and it's stainless steel and would be rather, relatively inexpensive. And the same thing we would do back. I mentioned the wood on the other side. We would do the same thing here. When we figured out these, making a sleeve that slides down over this and has a pad for the seat and so forth, we also figured that whatever vinyl we cover those with, we can cover this thing with that vinyl, whichever vinyl. We got some stuff that was in the 1947 racing runabout. It's very similar to that, but it's not quite the same. It's got a deeper texture, and it's actually when I was growing up, that's what my school bus seat was made out of. They came in green and blue and red. So if you wanted to do something like that, we could even change the color a little bit. So let's see, what were some other things? Of course, just extra coats of varnish. The varnish is already shrunk up enough that you see, I don't know if you can tell from the picture. Yeah, maybe you can. The varnish now has a texture, and the texture is the texture of the wood grain, because the varnish has shrunk up and shrunk into the wood grain. So maintenance coats of varnish will, every time you add some maintenance coats, it will get you closer to the product that you're looking for, which is a mirror finish like this on this boat. You see the varnish has not shrunk up. It eventually will shrink up just like yours is, over a period of years. And the longer that this has sat out and shrunk, the more it has shrunk, then the longer, when you get to a mirror, the longer your mirror will last. So again, we got some Art Deco modern. They were probably modern in 1950, which is not altogether the wrong. Yeah, those are kind of interesting. It would be interesting to find more of these and use those back here, and try to standardize on that hardware. So but we can, like I say, on the sides, we can do maintenance coats on the sides, on the deck. We can do hatch binding on this. The hatch binding would come to the end here. And the hatch binding would doll this up quite a bit. I noticed you've got a 318 Chrysler. Oh, and some metal handles on your engine hatch. Chrysler 318, nice bulletproof engine. Just want to make sure the last time you've changed your raw water pump impeller, we can do that for you as well. Or if you want to do that yourself, that's cool. And of course the trailer's gonna fix a lot of things, and the trailer will be that color of red. I did listen this time. I evidently didn't listen close or get that in my notes before. And what I'll do is I'll put some prices together on these proposals, so you can see if you want to do that while it's here, or if you want us to just give you some guidance and you do it yourself. Let's see here. Transom looks, yeah, we would do maintenance coats on the transom as well. And I see a build number, whoever built that. Interesting. Okay, so that's what we got for our thoughts so far. Taylor did have some thoughts when he opened up this too. I can't remember exactly what they were. Of course, we did talk to you briefly about the stainless tank. This is more for everybody else's knowledge. I'm not scolding you. Well, you didn't put this tank in, so I definitely wouldn't be scolding you. But stainless is not an approved material, Coast Guard approved material, unless the tank's no more than 20 gallons, and you got to have, and then it's only supposed to be 30 thousandths thick, and you're supposed to have dished ends on it. All that is to keep it from work hardening and cracking. So it's a safety issue, reason for that. But as long as it's intact, as long as you haven't got gasoline in your bilge, I guess we're good. Of course, we haven't checked out all the wiring and make sure everything works. You've probably either already done that or are intending to do that when it gets back to you. So that's cool. Oh, I did find something that was a little, we really can't do much about it other than watch it. There was evidently, this thing was skinned with 1/4-inch plywood at one time, and you can see that it's coming apart right here. So you got some rot right here under this beautiful decking. So I'm not proposing that we do anything about it right now, other than you need to watch that, and at some point maybe dig that out and try to treat that with some epoxy and put in some new wood, do some surgery, and do some chemotherapy with it. Chemotherapy would be a borax solution that kills fungus. Okay, well, I think that's most of what I suggest that we do, and we'll talk to you soon.